Lifestyle, the podcast. I am the host, the Honey Badger, here to give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business as well as other things. We have a lot to get to today. Very packed show. I'm going to cover some of my predictions for the RV industry in 2025. I'm going to cover, I'm going to cover some of the trending things that are being shown on campsites. Basically, what the new outdoor trends are going to be in 2025 based on reservation information. So, if you haven't already started to make your plans, pardon me, if you haven't already started to make your plans for 2025, as far as your reservations, your campsites, the campgrounds you're going to go to, the national parks you're going to visit, etc., you're going to want to listen to that section of this episode because there's some stuff that's trending you might want to try since you're starting to see a lot of campsites, a lot of resorts are already booked through May of 2025. There's going to be a lot of camping, a lot of people out doing outdoors activities in the United States in 2025, and I'm going to explain why that trend is going to increase. It may not affect sales of RVs or affect sales of tents or affect the sales of boats, but it's going to affect your ability to find a campsite. And I'm going to go into that a little bit later in this episode. We're also going to cover some RV financing and the used RV market and where I see it going over the next couple months. But first, things first. Drones. So last night I was driving Uber, and unfortunately my passengers and I could not capture it on camera while we were moving, but there were drones not only over Temecula and Murrieta, California, but there were drones over a lot of Orange County, Malibu, and up into Ventura where I am right now. It's really interesting when you see them in the sky. They look really small, but when you see them as you get closer to where their lights are going, some of these are the size of like two cars. Some of these are the size of like two SUVs or two half-ton trucks. And where they're at, it still makes me think it has something to do with surveying for insurance companies. I know that sounds weird, but if it's not a foreign adversary, if the Pentagon isn't willing to shoot these drones down for whatever the reasoning is, it's got to do something with a project about fire. Because where we saw the drones going into Malibu and into Camarillo, California, these are high fire danger areas. These are not, there's no military base that's right over the Malibu hills or right in Camarillo in the hillsides. Now, there is Port Hueneme base over towards the ocean in Ventura County. And there are ports as you go into San Pedro down to the coastline of Los Angeles. But where we saw these drones, hello everybody, where we saw these drones was over areas that have either already had a fire in the last 10 years or has the potential to be a disastrous fire zone area. So I'm wondering, it's still in my head, this is a survey of some sort. Whoever's doing the survey, I had the thought it could have been insurance companies, it could be a foreign investor, it could be extraterrestrial life forms. I don't know anymore. I couldn't even give you. I gave you my theory. I'm going to say it was a half-assed theory. But these drones, they don't look scary to me, but it just seems weird. Now, the activity is more centralized in New Jersey and on the East Coast than it is here in the western part of the United States in California. So it just seems really weird because it doesn't look like they're in attack mode or like they're going to swarm and attack people. It just looks like a survey. It looks like somebody from above is taking aerial footage of all these fire zones, all these rural areas. Could it be an infrastructure team? Could it be the oil companies? Could it be, I mean, it's got to be privately citizened, because if it was military, and they would tell you if it's military, they would have shot these things down like they did that hot air balloon that was from China. They're not shooting these things down. So it tells me that there's some kind of privatized company surveying the United States rural areas. And I don't know, again, I don't know what the purpose of it would be. As I said, the only thing I could think of is insurance companies are doing some kind of survey for a project they're thinking about doing. From what I've learned and understood about these drones is they're not carrying any weapons, they're carrying surveillance technology on them. So that's the only thing I could think of. So just want to throw that out there. Also, in conjunction with that, people think I'm full of crap about the California Air Resource Board email. So I only got one comment and one email. So I got one comment this morning on my main YouTube channel that said I'm full of crap, even though the CARB email is in black and white from a CARB, California Air Resource Board official. But I'm full of crap. I love people. It's just so fun. Here, I'm going to read you the email I got. This is great. This email made my morning. It really did. It made me laugh. Let me go to it. There it is. You need to put yourself into a area with a big, huge headset and listen to the words of God, because you are as full of shit as anybody I have ever listened to on the internet. Now, that's the only cuss word I'm going to use. I'm going to try to use a different word in the rest of the cuss words. You're bleeping, and bleeping. And even though you have it in bleeping, bleeping writing, doesn't mean bleeping. I hope you bleeping. And I hope you bleeping, and your family bleeping. You can fill in the bleepins. So, and the reason why I read that is because, like, when I have the money and the resources, I am going to go to shows. And I said something yesterday on the show that I thought about last night as I was going to sleep. It would be nice if Liz Amazing showed up to shows and made her presence known. I want to let her know, if she's watching or watches this later, I get about 10 emails like that a day. Okay? And I'm not afraid for my life. I get threats of violence all the time. On my email, on my DMs. That's all I have to say about it. It actually more motivates me than it does make me upset. So, at the end of the day, this is what we really got to do, right? We really just got to we really got to be aware that people are kind of dicks, especially when they're fans of other people. So I got another email yesterday, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it basically, they named a YouTube channel that they're fans of, and this YouTube channel apparently mentioned my name and that, I'm a threat to the RV industry. No, it wasn't Josh or Matt or any of the main guys. It wasn't Jason from RV Miles or anything like that. It was, if you, I'm not even going to say the name of this YouTube channel. You can find it on your own. Apparently, I'm a threat to the RV community and the RV industry because I dish out news that is incorrect, and it's a threat to our way of life. And I'm like, let's see, person's a full-time RVer, never sold an RV in their life, never was a technician or worked on an RV in their life. Let's see, they copy and paste most of their stuff from other content creators to get their views. Do I really care about their opinion? No. So, and good morning to you, Mike. Good morning, everybody. Oh, what a day. One of the things I was reading through today that was very interesting was, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I'm not a big NFL guy, but there was something that popped up that I was looking at early last night. And it was that there's a guy, and it's very, very interesting because it's kind of how life goes, is there's a Devondre Campbell. And Devondre Campbell, I'm going to read this to you. Devondre Campbell, with injuries to their linebacker accumulating in the middle of the third quarter, Thursday night against the Los Angeles Rams, the San Francisco 49ers turned to veteran Devondre Campbell to enter the game, and Campbell declined the invitation. Then in the fourth quarter, Campbell walked to the locker room with a towel over his head without playing a snap. After the Niners' 12-6 defeat at Levi Stadium, head coach Kyle Shanahan explained that Campbell elected not to enter the game even though linebackers were dealing with injuries. He said he didn't want to play today. So, Thursday night football, and the NFL's become a joke. Okay, let's leave it at that. The NFL has become a joke the last couple of years. That's why I watch college football instead of NFL. But you have a guy that's being paid to play 17 to 18 weeks out of the year. He's getting paid a full year salary to work 5 months. He sits the bench. He's asked to go into the game, and he tells him no. Now, if I've told employers no, and I've been fired for telling employers no. It's crazy. I just saw that, and I'm like, is this real? Am I living in the Twilight Zone? Or did this guy really tell an NFL head coach he's not going to play in a game? It's crazy. This is crazy. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Yeah, Nola, that is a really good point about the stealth bomber. That's a really good point. It's just crazy. Here's the other thing I got in my feed today that's kind of relevant to our world, okay? Hold on. Oh, okay, I'm over it. This is really important now. So there's going to be snowbird activity coming soon. So if you're a snowbird and you live in the northern part of the United States, you're getting hammered. You're getting absolutely hammered by bad weather, snowstorms, freak weather in the middle of December. It's affecting the Great Lakes states. It's affecting the Northeast. Folks, remember what I said 4 months ago. I said back in August and September, if you are a snowbird, you need to get your rig ready then and there. You need it to be ready by Halloween. Even if you were coming in January and February down to the southern states to snowbird in your fifth wheel, your motorhome, your travel trailer, remember what I said. I hate being right sometimes because being right sucks. But I said that the weather and other factors were going to cause parts delays problems. For you, those of you who live in the southern states, remember I said we were going to have parts delays. We were going to have shipment delays because weather and other things going on globally, which it looks like the global part is starting to finally take effect. In fact, I'm going to read here in just a second an article that was released about Dometic that's going to affect the entire RV parts industry as a whole. And this is a global problem, and this is the reason why there's going to be another global recession, is because there's just so many moving parts to everything that COVID really hasn't, that whole COVID, give everybody free money thing still hasn't been sorted completely out yet. I think it'll get sorted out by the end of next year, though. There you go, Tom. Exactly. Exactly. There you go, Keith. I love it. I love it. So you guys are getting hammered. And where that is very, very prevalent is I'm going to read this article. We talked about Nexus yesterday. We don't need to rehash that. This was released by, where is it? There we go. This is Global Restructuring to Impact Dometic's RV Business. Global restructuring. Remember what I said? I said this 4 months ago. And everybody thought you're full of crap. Every time I say something months in advance, everybody thinks I'm full of crap. And then when it happens, they go, wow, why do I keep unsubscribing from this guy? He seems to have knowledge before knowledge occurs. As communicated in the interim report for the third quarter 2024, Dometic is announcing a global restructuring program to support margin expansion and release resources to invest and drive profitable growth and value creation in strategic growth areas. That's another way of saying that their partners in Asia are having a major trade problem. This is something not being talked about on the global news. It's not being talked about even in the Asian countries' news. It's not being talked about in India or China or Taiwan. It's not being talked about. This is a very quiet thing that has been occurring off and on for the last 200 years. You have different countries that claim certain ocean areas, and it all has to be sorted out through treaties. You know, you have ships that get attacked by pirates. You have ships that get attacked by militaries. You have convoys that have to be put together to protect cargo ships leaving certain ports because there's claims by other countries to have this is their waters, this is their airspace, and it's all conflict. So again, another company, this time one that actually affects the RV industry, has to restructure globally. And of course, you know, they put in a bunch of lovely technical mumble jumble. But here's the important part. Dometic will explore divestment opportunities and or discontinue non-strategic businesses. This includes low-margin businesses and or areas where synergies are low or non-existing with the rest of the portfolio. Okay. So in essence, here's one thing. Businesses to be discontinued include large compressor refrigerators for recreational vehicles, as well as hot and cooking and window product categories in Land Vehicle Americas segment. It also includes the generator product category in the Global Venture segment and select low-margin camping equipment product categories in the Land Vehicles EMEA. These are products that are having the worst. Not only are they becoming obsolete, but they're also getting harder to get because the countries that make these things for Dometic are having major problems with trade and different avenues of getting their products out of their country and shipped and imported not only into the United States, but also Europe and South America as well. So basically, this was going to happen no matter what at the end of the day, because you're starting to see the industry go to strictly 12 volt and electric refrigerators. You're starting to see, remember what I said, by 2027, the propane electric refrigerator is going to be gone, right? So this is just a step faster to what I thought was going to happen. And mainly this is happening not only because these products are becoming obsolete, but because the global trade partners are having major issues. And this started before Donald Trump talking about tariffs. This has been something that I've been talking about off and on for 2 years. This has nothing to do with the president of the United States. This would have happened if Joe Biden was president. This would have happened if Kamala Harris was president. This would have happened if I was president. It would have happened if a 5-year-old kid was president. It doesn't matter who was in government on our side. This is something in government in the country, in the continent of Asia. Okay. This is where things are. And 12 volt refrigerators are getting better, Mike, just to let you know. 12 volt refrigerators are getting much, much better. Okay. Believe me, they were garbage when I first started selling stuff with them. Nowadays, they've gotten a lot better, especially in the last 3 years. They've gotten a lot better. In addition to the actions above, Dometic will continue to drive structural cost reductions, and a company-wide cost reduction program is being initiated. This program includes a planned closure of 2 manufacturing sites and 5 distribution centers, as well as right-sizing of resources in manufacturing, supply, and support functions. Approximately 500 employees are expected to be impacted by the program. Remember what I said. I said there's going to be a big contraction in the RV industry. This is the start on the parts side of things. Okay. Now, in defense of Dometic, and this is a big defense in Dometic's respect, they pumped up their manufacturing across the globe and their distribution to match the demand of the boating, RV, power sports, tiny home, all the, because they don't just deal with the RV industry. They deal with a lot of different industries. And during COVID, from mid-2020 to about the end of 2022 into the beginning of 2023, they had ramped up production to match the demand in all segments and in all industries that they support. Now the demand has obviously gone down. So they're just matching the demand, just like the RV manufacturers have matched the demand. If you actually go look, no matter what you guys think, 2025 inventory is not easy to find. Okay. One of the reasons why, and we're going to pick on Forest River today. We picked on Brinkley yesterday. We're going to pick on Forest River today. Okay. If you go look at Forest River, the Rockwoods, the Flagstaffs, the people that build to order, they are right now, from what I'm understanding, building between 2 and 3 days a week. Now they're going to go through Christmas shutdown pretty soon if they haven't already. But they're only building 2 to 3 days a week, and they're doing between 6 and 8 a day. That's for a United States and Canadian and South American and Australian demand. So basically you're building between 30 and 32 a week. That's less than 150 a month. That is called matching the demand. And actually, it's not matching the demand. It's leveling off the playing field like they should have 2.5 years ago, but that's okay. I digress. What they're basically doing is they're trying to help the dealers at this point. Too little, too late, but still, I'd rather have them do it now than never do it. Is they're now letting the dealers catch up. Now that the dealers will catch up, it'll balance out the supply and the demand. This is why what I've been saying for the last couple of days is 2025, the year 2025, will be the last year before profit margins and prices go up. And I don't know how long it will last. It could last through the whole year. It could last through June. It could last till April. I don't know. But if you're sitting on the sidelines thinking you're going to get things for 10 cents on the dollar, not going to happen. What you're seeing right now is the most it's ever going to be. You need to get off your butt if you're going to do it, and go do it this year. The people who bought in late 2023 to middle of this year, even up through about a month and a half ago, you guys bought at the perfect time. It's going to do nothing but go up from here. You guys bought in the rock bottom of the market. Congratulations. For those of you that are still sitting on the sidelines and want to tell me I'm full of crap, when prices go up during a bad economy next year, I don't know what month next year, I can't really put my pulse on that yet. When that happens, don't come back and tell me I'm still full of crap. Contraction, great job, Mike. Contraction does not mean lower prices. Contraction means less competition. Contraction means less supply. Contraction means bigger profit margins. So today we're going to pick on Funtown RV because they're becoming big. So as Funtown RV buys up all these dealers that they're buying up, they're going to raise the prices. They're going to raise their profit margin. They have to. When you're a large dealership, the size of Camping World, the size of Bish's RV, the size of Lazy Days, the size of General RV, the size of Funtown RV, the size of Campers Inn, when you are the size of these guys, Blue Compass, you have so many more employees, such a more higher cost to do business than mom and pop. That means that they have to make more money per copy. So let's look at California as an example, okay? In California, let's use Southern California. You got Beaumont RV Inc., which has Bobby Wayne's, I-15, Pink Flamingo, etc. You got another small independent in Banning RV in Banning, California. You have Family RV, that's, I believe, in Ontario or Rancho Cucamonga area. They can give you a better price than a big fat dealer like Camping World. So the reason why is because they have a smaller overhead than the Camping World store does. The Camping World store has to have a lot more personnel, a lot more insurance. They have a bigger overall bill that they have to pay per month on every one of their locations. All the support teams, including the people that give the used RV values, including the finance people, you're talking about an overhead that is between 3 and 5 times what a mom and pop shop is. So as these mom and pop stores close or sell to the bigger dog, that doesn't mean lower prices. That means higher prices. And if you don't understand that, if all you understand is supply and demand, then you only have 10% of what really occurs in an economy. Don't wait any longer. Stop sitting on the sidelines. Get out and get your RV if you're planning on doing it. And that brings me to a great segue. I'm going to read this to you. Pitchup.com unveils 2025 Outdoor Travel Trend Report. The global outdoor accommodations booking website, home to 6,000 campgrounds in more than 70 countries, unveils its camping trend predictions for 2025. Then I'm going to give you my predictions as well. Insight in today's thriving outdoor travel industry. And it is thriving. I'm going to tell you why it's thriving here in a minute. After seeing its 5 millionth booking in 2024, Pitchup.com anticipates another banner year for camping and identifies key trends defining for the future of outdoor travel, from emerging destinations to unexpected experiences like farm to tent moments, naturist adventures, and holiday celebrations, according to the release. Where is it? This is one that I am starting to see more and more from Facebook groups, and it's translated into this article. From farm to tent, culinary-driven camping is booming. Though many associate camping with pre-packaged meals or processed snacks, a new wave of campgrounds on farms is redefining camping culinary experience. Pitchup.com saw an impressive 443,000 searches for farm campgrounds in 2024. That's huge. That doesn't sound like a big number in the overall scheme of things, but 443,000 people, and realize only 1% of the U.S. population per year buy an RV. That's it. Used or new, only 1% a year buys an RV. So let's call that, 3 million people? So out of 3 million, 3.5 million people that bought in 2024, plus the people that already own them, 443,000, that's a lot of people. Where wine enthusiasts, foodies, and eco-friendly travelers can explore where their food comes from, taste local produce and dishes, and reconnect with land, while offering farms as an alternative income source. Agritourism-focused campgrounds such as Sequoia Mountain Farms in Pinehurst, California, or in our garden in Italy offer a glimpse into sustainable farming from olive groves to vineyards. You're going to see people in general are starting to see that we're seeing a shift. People who have been RVing for, let's say, 20 years, they've been going to the same campgrounds, the same sites, the same routine, are starting to break routine and go, hey, what are some other things we can do with our fifth wheel, our travel trailer, our motorhome, our toy hauler? These trends are starting to go into alternative type of camping where you get to meet new people and try new things. I have said that in 2025, you're already seeing rental companies. I now have another 3 rental companies that have reached out to me through email, through DMs, that have said they are now booked through June of 2025. Booked. RV rentals, booked. Fully booked. That's now 4 companies booked through at least April, and now 3 companies that are now booked through June. What does that tell you? It tells you if you haven't gone and sat down and made your plans for 2025, you better go do it. I know the holidays are here. Trust me, I know they're here. But you gotta start thinking about what your trips are gonna be. Oh, yeah, well, we don't really do that till like February. Well, if you wait till February, you're gonna miss out on some of the places you want to go this coming year. You gotta start planning these things 6 months in advance. Because people are getting more and more into the outdoors activities. Not all of them are RVers. A lot of people, I'll give you a great example. Yesterday, I was charging the car, and there's this guy that pulls in with this Toyota Tundra, and the Tundra had this, it was like a makeshift house on it. He built it himself, and he showed it to me. He wouldn't let me film it, and I don't know why, but it just was gorgeous. It was fiberglass, and it had windows, and it had this makeshift foldable bathroom. It had a weird looking kind of Murphy bed in it, and he upgraded the truck. It wasn't, and it was bolted down to the truck. It wasn't like a truck camper that had, what are those called again? The tie down straps. This thing was attached and bolted down into the frame of the truck. No pop outs, tall. I mean, it was just like, whoa. I saw the other day, I've seen it on YouTube, I've seen it on TikTok, people that are converting these school buses into houses. I saw one of those in person yesterday. I'm starting to see, there was another guy yesterday also that had one of those box trucks, and he converted it into a tiny house. You're starting to see people that are getting these really cool tents, these people that don't want to sleep on the ground. They're coming out with all these weird, cool inventions for Subaru Outbacks and for Toyota Tacomas and for BMW X6s. You're starting to see a trend of people being able to camp in so many different ways besides a tent on the ground or an RV. That means that more and more people are getting into the mood of the outdoors. It's no longer just about van conversions and all that stuff. There are people that are getting extremely creative with the comfort and ability to move around. I mean, it's inspired me that I think if I can do it next year on the main channel, if I could build my own, like find an Astrovan or something and build it out myself with free material wherever I could find free material. I mean, I've got a lot of like ideas in my head to be able to give you content, but at the same time have some fun and enjoy some of the views and not just be a workaholic. Try to have some fun. Hard to do when you're broke. Now, here's the other predictions I have for 2025, because that was part of my predictions. and you know, the independents will get all mad at me. Alliance will get mad at me. Brinkley will get mad at me. Genesis Supreme will get mad at me, even though they're one of their biggest fans. At least one of the independent RV manufacturers will sell in 2025. And it won't necessarily sell to an RV umbrella company. I'm going to repeat that again. An independent RV company like Alliance, like Brinkley, like Nexus, like Genesis Supreme RV, one of the independents is going to sell in 2025, and they're going to be forced to sell in 2025. And it won't necessarily be to a major RV corporation. It may not sell to a Thor, a Forest River, a Winnebago, or a Rev Group. It may sell to a boat company. It may sell to a Fortune 500 company or a foreign company. And here's why I say that. If things do not turn around faster than what I predict, okay, these companies' health may look healthy now, but remember, they're not publicly traded, so they don't have to show you their books. If I want to know what is up with Winnebago or Thor Industries or Berkshire Hathaway or any of those companies like Lazy Days or Camping World, those are publicly traded companies. If you're a stockholder, you get to go through the earnings report. Their earnings report is released every quarter, and they have to expose everything, including their debt, their loans, when their loans are going to mature, things of that nature. When you're an independent company, like Genesis Supreme RV, you don't have to do any of that. And let's remember that commercial loans, business loans, inventory loans, everything that a company needs to run their operations day to day is debt. They all use debt. Every company across the United States that is a large corporation uses debt to fund their day-to-day operations. It's been that way for what, 50 years? Since Nixon took us off the gold standard. Okay. At some point, one of these independents' loans are going to mature. And because they don't have investor money from a stock market perspective that can flow and inject their company with cash, their options are limited on what kind of debt they can pull out. So when those loans mature, they're not going to have the cash to pay the principal and pay the loan back. So the only way to do that is to sell the company or sell assets of the company, which the majority of RV manufacturers, not everybody, but the majority of RV manufacturers lease their factory, lease the land that they build them on, lease the land they store them on. So we're going to pick on Genesis Supreme RV. Let's say that happens. Or go public, yeah. Genesis Supreme, as an example, would basically have to either go public, yep, that'd be an option, basically do an IPO, or they would have to sell the company for a lot less money than they would want to. This is actually what's going to cause a lot of financial problems in 2025 with a lot of companies in general. That commercial real estate, those commercial and business loans that are going to come due and mature in 2025. It's going to be tough. A lot of companies, especially commercial real estate companies, are going to be forced to sell properties and assets and lose tons of money. Warren Buffett just pulled out a Bank of America stock, pulled out a bunch of Bank of America stock last week. I think he almost sold everything he has in Bank of America. I might not be a prophet, but I sure in hell look at all the angles. You got to look at all the angles. You can't look at, see what happens is we get sucked in by the news and we get sucked in by politicians and their rhetoric. And it's like, huh. Oh my God. So when we get sucked into this vacuum of baloney and malarkey, we don't look at the bigger picture. We look at YouTubers for advice. We look at podcasters for advice. Okay? It's better overall to get multiple forms of information. So where I got all the loan information from was from several sources, but none of the financial guys. Like, here's a good example for you guys. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Airbnb is dead. Vrbo is dead. If you're investing money, that's the other crash that's coming. Imagine all those people that bought rental properties to Airbnb them. Imagine how much money those people are going to lose. That's the next housing bubble. The housing bubble that's going to pop very fast is the Airbnb and Vrbo bubble. You now have 33 counties and 54 cities across the United States that have banned short-term rentals starting January 1st, 2025. Is anybody talking about that? I know there's a couple YouTubers and a couple podcasters but has anybody talked about that on the news? No? Want to know why? I can tell you why. Because that means the housing market's going to crash. Because all these investors, including all these corporations that bought up all these single-family homes and put them on Airbnb and put them on Vrbo and put them on short-term rentals, they're going to throw all this inventory on the market. You have these large investment groups, these large funds that bought all these rental properties in 2020, 2021. Their cash flow is going to contract when the stock market kind of corrects itself. It's not going to crash. It's just going to have a correction. It always does. It'll grow back again. The stock market will go back up. It'll come down, off the honeymoon high of Trump and kind of correct itself in the spring and then go back up. It's kind of the ebb and flow of the stock market. But the housing market is going to take a shit real bad between commercial real estate coming mature and the housing market going to have a bunch of inventory on it in the next 2 years. And you know who's going to get affected? It isn't the guy who bought his house in 2015. It's not the guy that bought his house in 2017 or 2018. No, not going to affect those guys. Because those guys bought in an era where they bought pretty low. They're still going to have some equity in their house. It's not going to be like a global problem like it was last time where, everybody's going to get hurt. The people that are going to specifically get hurt by this next housing bubble are the people that bought in the last 4 years. If you bought a house in the last 4 years, you're going to be underwater in your home. Because there's going to be so much inventory that gets flooded to the market. These investor companies are going to dump houses so quick. And you're going to have guys that have been sitting on the sidelines of real estate that have piled up a bunch of cash, and they're going to walk in on a $400,000 home and go, I'll give you $250 cash right now. I'll be in escrow. I'll close in 10 days. While a homeowner is like, $400,000, I gotta go get a mortgage. What do you mean it's sold? It's sold for $250,000. Why? Because the investment company wanted the cash now. They didn't want to wait for a qualified buyer. They were going to get their money in 10 days. That is where cash is king. Cash is not king in the RV industry or in the car industry or in the boat industry. Cash is king when an investment group is dumping assets. Assets include stocks, bonds, silver, gold, Bitcoin, real estate. The butter. It ain't guns and butter, baby, right? Go watch Baby Boy. You gotta know the difference between guns and butter. No, it's going to happen everywhere, Steve. Everywhere that has an Airbnb, everywhere that has a short-term lease, everybody that has anywhere an investment corporation has bought a bunch of single-family homes. Now, if you live in farm country, South Dakota, you're probably not going to get affected. If you bought your home in 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 2010, 2019, you're not going to get affected that bad. You may not get affected at all. It's everybody that bought in the last 4 years. And the people that get hurt the worst are the people that bought in 2020 and 21 and went and bid up houses 100 grand, 150, 175 grand over asking price. Those are the ones that are going to get smashed. By the way, I said this in 2021. I laughed at everybody that went up to me and said, "Oh, I got a hell of a deal. I only had to pay 75 grand over asking to get this house." And I'm like, you're in a bidding war over a home? Are you crazy? Well, I got 2%. Who cares about the percentage? You're going to be underwater in your house in 5 years. The bank's going to not care about the 2% loan when loans are being given out 7 and 8% when interest rates go up. The bank's going to look at you and go, they're losing money. They're losing money because they've got X amount of dollars tied up in a 2% loan when loans being given out now are like at 6 and 7%. Yeah, it's one of those situations where and the reason why it won't affect everybody like on a massive scale where it will be like a global depression like it was in 2008, 2009 is because there are a lot of people out there that what they did instead of selling their home in 20, I'll give you a great example. This is a good example. Yesterday I picked up a guy. He bought his house in Huntington Beach, California for like $1.2 million. It's right on the beach. And he got offers for like $2.5 million on that house in 2021, 2022. And he didn't sell. And what he did instead was when rates hit like 2.1%, 2.15%, he refinanced the house. And he didn't take out the full equity. He took out he said he took out like 400 grand in equity. So he still owes 1.2 what he originally paid on it. And he took that money and he didn't rebuild anything or buy a car. He actually went and bought a fourplex that he got that was run down and rebuilt it, and he's got it fully rented out. I talked to a couple of people over the last 3 weeks that I've driven around doing Uber that they didn't sell their house in 2020, 2021, 2022. They just refinanced the loan down to 2%. Those people are riding a wave of goodness and amazing. They got a low mortgage payment. They're not going to end up underwater in their house. They didn't go jump off a cliff and go run out and buy a house and run out and buy a car, run out and buy a truck. I'd say half of these people that I've talked to, like they laid low during COVID. Like, okay, let's putt around, do some projects. Oh, let's go get a new appliance maybe. No, we don't need a new car. Maybe we'll lease. 2025 is going to punish people that weren't patient in 2020 and 2021. It's going to absolutely punish them. Mainly in the housing, truck, and luxury car sector. Somebody always told me when prices are high on cars, you lease. When interest rates are high on cars and houses and stuff, you rent and lease. You buy when prices are low. You lease and rent when prices are high. So my other prediction for 2025 and the RV industry is I believe that we pretty much have hit rock bottom. I think we hit rock bottom about 7 days ago in the industry. Rock bottom to me is not that, oh, it's the last domino to fall. It's we now know what the dominoes that will fall. There's a difference. So the uncertainty of what dominoes will come next, it was spooking people. Now we know what the dominoes are as they fall over the next 4 or 5 months. So this is rock bottom. That means that after these last dominoes fall, if they fall at all, it's nothing but upward trend for RV dealers and RV manufacturers. As long as they keep to the game plan, as long as we don't have another massive frame failure / frame flex thing with another brand, as long as Grand Design RV continues the trend of taking care of people, I really need them to come out and just say what needs to be said, because I think that if they come out and they confirm the rumor that they are partnering with these several other companies to create a permanent fix for the problem that was created, I truly believe they will be on the comeback trail. And that's another prediction of 2025. Is I think Grand Design will be on the comeback trail. I don't think they're going to win people's hearts over and minds over within a day or two, but I think they'll be on the trend if they come out and say they are partnering with these different companies that are frame repair specialists, which I've talked to several service people across the United States, and they have told me plain and simple that the one guy at Grand Design, that's kind of their warranty manager, has told them that he is working with several companies. They know it's a massive problem. They know it's a big problem. They know their fix isn't working on every single coach. So that's why they're going to an outside source, somebody that actually deals with it on a daily basis, and they're partnering with them to make sure it gets fixed. I wish they would come out and say that publicly and make that an announcement through the news, through the cycle. You could spin whatever twist you want to have on it, because if they do that, I think they're actually going to trend upward. I think they will. I don't think their brand will all of a sudden magically become the golden child again, but I believe it will start moving in the right direction. Okay, I believe that is a very big possibility. And the last prediction I have for 2025 and the RV industry is I'm going to predict that a lot of people that have been in my comments and been in my DMs telling me I'm full of crap, that prices are going to crash, that they're going to pick things up for 10 cents on the dollar, I believe those people will never buy an RV. And the reason why is because they're making it about money. The RV lifestyle does take money. The RV industry does take money. But this is not a financial decision that makes you money. It doesn't create wealth in money. It creates wealth in memories, and it creates wealth in a lifestyle, and it creates wealth in health, both mental and physical health. People that RV seem to always be healthier, happier, and in a better mood than if they don't. Steve, it depends on which truck. It really depends. It does end up costing you money, Keith. Absolutely. But but if you love your wife and you love your marriage, then it's worth the money. But you are right. It's, you know, boats cost a lot of money too. But it's a lifestyle that is not for people that worry about money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're worried about, see, the thing is, I've seen too much of that happen where a guy says, like yesterday, I was sending an email back to a guy. Um, the email that was sent out, it was sent. I'm sorry. The email I sent out to this guy, he bought a O2 Beaver marquee for like $40,000, and he was bragging to me that he bought a $500,000 coach for 40 grand. Oh yeah, what'd you buy? O2 Beaver marquee. Well, of course you bought it for 40 grand. It's 22 years old. Guys like that, park them in their yard, park them in a storage unit, and tell a story to all their friends how they got this amazing deal and never use the damn thing. Boats, yeah, I can imagine that. But RVs are a little different. They're more. It's a different world, especially if you're getting a travel trailer or a small toy hauler, something used, something cheap. Doesn't matter. Anyway, that's everything for today, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Just remember, RV stands for what? Toolkit and sense of humor. Have a good one.